Founded in 1922 to serve the children of Philadelphia and their families by providing a healthy outdoor country experience in the aftermath of the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, the mission of College Settlement and the College Settlement camps is more vital than ever as our region copes with the COVID-19 pandemic. On this episode of Press Conference with Jim DeLorenzo, my guest is Terry Dougherty, the Executive Director of College Settlement, sharing the story of the nonprofit organization's 100th anniversary this year. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Jim DeLorenzo, the principal of Jim DeLorenzo Public Relations. You can find me online at jimdelorenzo.com. I have found that my career in public relations is my true vocation, telling the stories of my clients and my colleagues in a compelling way to drive sales, membership, and awareness. If you have ever had any questions about the role public relations can play in your business or in your career, I would be happy to share my thoughts with you. Please feel free to contact me directly, either by email at jim@jhdenterprises.com or by cell phone or text message at 215-266-5943. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. My guest today, Terry Dougherty, is the Executive Director of College Settlement, with the mission of shaping the lives of young people by instilling respect for self, others, and our natural world. Terry was hired by College Settlement in February 2020 and has guided the organization through the COVID-19 pandemic, bringing back the summer camp programs in 2021 after 1 year without camps, and as she is gearing up now for the 2022 camp programs. Terry has over 20 years of experience in leadership roles in academic recreation programs, with her overall career dedicated to supporting youth. Previously, she was the Executive Director of Philadelphia City Rowing, and in her 7 years there, Terry grew Philadelphia City Rowing from 300 to 1,200 students, formed relationships with a wide range of schools in Philadelphia, and expanded their reach beyond high school students to a middle school program. Through Terry's leadership and the support of her small staff, Philadelphia City Rowing kids, most of whom were economically disadvantaged, had the opportunity to experience and succeed in a sport many had never previously heard about, and their confidence soared as a result. And we're happy to have Terry on set today to discuss her new role and her new mission with College Settlement. Terry, it's been an interesting experience. I got to know you through Philadelphia City Rowing a couple years back, and to be working with you now at College Settlement is exciting for me. Tell me, if you could, how you first became aware of College Settlement and what is in store for people during the 100th anniversary of the program.
Thanks, Jim. I'm excited to be here. We are embarking upon a milestone of 100 years of summer camp. I heard about College Settlement through a friend of mine, but ironically, I had lived within maybe a mile of the organization prior to working there. And I passed it numerous times and just never really knew what the organization was about, what exactly they did there. Just remembered the large piece of property on both sides of the street.
Sure.
So in researching the position, I noticed how much they were similar to what I was currently doing. Working with children that were underserved, children that needed a better opportunity and exposure to different aspects of life, such as swimming, bike riding, and the environment in general. When you live in the city, there's not a lot of trees and places to just sort of wander around safely.
Sure.
And that was one of the things that I really liked about their mission, which was to give all children, regardless of their economic circumstances, a unique opportunity. And it is definitely unique.
In doing my research with you and for you on some of the things that you and I are working on together, the 100th anniversary plays a great deal in my reference points, but a lot of people have lost track of what a settlement house was and the role that they played in our country, especially in our cities, at the beginning of the 20th century, and how College Settlement and the camp program in Horsham grew out of those settlement programs and has been one of the only ones that has actually survived into this 21st century.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We were founded in 1892 as part of the settlement movement. Originally, we're located down in South Philadelphia, off of Christian Street. And we got the name College Settlement because the women that were in the colleges in the area that were social services type of majors were asked to live in the settlement houses because the universities felt that that was the best way they could get a real true sense of the community that they were serving in. So a number of women from Vassar and Bryn Mawr, I believe there was a few other schools that were initially involved, Radcliffe, Cornell. They had women that lived in the houses that served the kids in the community and the families in the community. And their goal then was to sort of bring the immigrants into the society that they lived in,
Sure.
to sort of acclimate them. They helped with food pantries and childcare and, sort of helping them to grow accustomed to what their new lives were going to be in this country.
And it's interesting because College Settlement was in South Philadelphia. So you come across the 1918 Spanish flu, and all of a sudden you have the cities being these percolators, if you will, for the flu, and people getting very sick, people dying, people needing an escape from that. And in 1918, in that period, College Settlement decides to buy a piece of land out in Horsham. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, what happened was in 1918, Philadelphia was hit really hard with the pandemic, the Spanish flu. And we actually found an article where it said little Tony came to the door of the settlement house and said, "Me mom and me pop are down and baby keeps crying." And so the women from the settlement house went out into the community and they left the settlement house and they set up public laundering facilities, they set up meals.
Wow.
They did a lot of the child care just so the parents could get back on their feet. And then shortly after that, Anna Davies, who was a longtime head worker there, she found the property in Horsham and worked with the Board of Trustees, and they were able to purchase a tract of land that was next to farms. There was a bunch of farms in the area, and so they bought families out in 1922 for the first farm camp.
That's interesting. And that was as a result of the flu epidemic. And now you're bringing children from South Philadelphia out into the country to see a different side of life and to be in a healthier environment. Now we flash forward, and we're in this COVID-19 pandemic. We're about to enter year 3 of this process. And how has it come to be that College Settlement is now even more vital in this day and age than maybe it has been for the last few years? It's more of a reaction to a previous pandemic, but now it can be part of this.
Yeah, it was very difficult in 2020. We weren't able to have full camp, so we sort of went back to our roots, which was bringing families out. So we were able to bring families out, maybe 2 or 3 families at a time, so that they could be socially distanced, but they could participate in some of the same activities that we did with the kids.
Okay.
We took them to the farm, we took them on hikes, we took them fishing, and we were able to do it for a very small number of folks. But then in 2021, we decided as an organization that following the CDC guidelines and all the American Camp Association guidelines, that we could hold camp at 50% capacity. So we were able to bring half the kids that we normally have out there for overnight camp and day camp. And I can tell you that we were lucky. We had no COVID the entire summer.
Fantastic.
And that's a true testament to the hard work that my staff put in, sort of tracking everybody and testing all the kids and making sure that we had great nurses on staff that were able to just monitor their behaviors and their temperatures. And the kids were ecstatic. They were ecstatic to spend time with one another, to spend time outside. They just couldn't wait. And it was really refreshing to see and to be able to just even go back to being able to meet our mission of serving those kids that really needed that experience.
Sure. And it's interesting too. I mean, I know that you're getting ready for this summer's camps. How many children, how many attendees do you normally have in a normal camp year, and how many do you hope to have this year?
In a normal camp year, we have a little over 1,000 children between the day camp and the overnight camp. Last year, we were able to host approximately 625, which was good, but we really hope to get back to full capacity,
Sure.
which is about 100, 125 children. And we have property up in Millville, PA, which is past Bloomsburg, and we usually take our teen program there for a week. They're on site for 2 weeks, but the boys go 1 week and the girls go another, and we weren't able to do that last year or in 2020. So we're excited to return there as well.
Fantastic. Now, some of the families and the children that are involved, in my research and our conversations, I know that there have been generations of families that have come back to the camp each year, and you got a lot of families that are just so happy to be a part of this. What neighborhoods in Philadelphia and in areas, what neighborhoods do the children come from?
Well, we serve all the neighborhoods, but because of transportation, we are able to provide busing in like North Philadelphia area, and we do have busing for kids in West Philadelphia for overnight camp. But due to the distance, it's tough to have kids on a bus that long.
Sure.
So most of the kids that are bused in come from the North Philadelphia region. And then overnighters come from all over the city. So that's a nice thing.
How has COVID-19 changed the way you're dealing with the families? Are you dealing with more of them through email or phone calls or personal visits? Or how do you keep the word up with those families that you're serving? How do you gain their awareness and get them on board?
Well, that's funny you should ask, Jim. One of the things that we always try to stay connected to our families through email and newsletters, but one of our big connections is through our outdoor school program. Children come during the academic year and participate in our outdoor school program, and that's how they first hear about us. They first get contacted, and we have an EITC program that helps fund kids come for their field trips from the city, and that's where a number of the families have first heard about us. We do have about a 62% return rate of kids coming back year after year.
Wow.
The campers seem to love it once they get there, and one of our big things is trying to stay involved with the families when we're not in camp. And during 2021, we had virtual tours.
Okay.
So if a child had never been there, or if the parent was trying to decide whether they wanted their child to go from day camp to overnight camp, we had virtual tours where we did a Zoom meeting and the kids could ask questions, parents could ask questions. We showed a video of camp, and we did have small in-person tours, but again, it wasn't like our normal every year open houses.
Well, I have a few more questions for you. We're going to take a quick break for some commercial messages, but when we come back, I have some more questions about what's going to happen at college settlement camps this summer. So we'll be right back after these messages.
Can I ask you a question? Am I out of focus?
You're fine.
Yeah, but I mean, look at me, I'm all blurry.
Well, you're supporting cast.
What?
The camera focuses on the most important character, which is me.
Well, what if my character had a big reveal?
Like what?
Like maybe I'm the killer.
Are you?
Yeah. No. Could have been. Could have been the killer.
have you heard? Join me, Heather Darling, weekly for a different spin on politics, business, law, and other key issues you will not want to miss right here on RVN TV.
That's right. TurboTax Free Edition is free. See details at TurboTax.com.
Are you ready? Are you ready to be famous? Well, then come on the Corey Jones Show on RVN TV. We'll push your business, your cause, or your mission. We'll get you famous, and you'll have some fun. Every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m. and then Wednesday nights at 9:30 p.m. on RVNTV.tv.
Welcome back to Press Conference with Jim DeLorenzo. I'm your host, Jim DeLorenzo, and my guest today is Terry Dougherty, the Executive Director of College Settlement Camps in Horsham. And we've been talking about the 100th anniversary of college settlement camps and how it started during the Spanish flu pandemic and how it's more vital than ever during our COVID-19 lifestyle, if you will. Terry, when we were talking before, one of the big things is we're planning for 2022. When does the enrollment period start for this summer's camps?
It starts today,
wow.
February 14th. And we're excited because we have a new website that we're rolling out, and it has a lot more videos and pictures and interviews with the kids. So hopefully people will jump on and register. And we are requiring that all children have the COVID vaccine, just as all our staff will have had the COVID vaccine.
Okay. And how would the families or the parents or guardians, how would they sign up for, how would they do the registration?
They can do the registration online. It's www.collegesettlement.org. Okay. And there's an application link, and you just click on that, and it'll take you to the application process.
Okay, cool. Now, we talked about the children need to have be vaccinated. Are there things that you're trying to do before the summer camps start in June? Are there things that you in College Settlement are trying to do to help people get that vaccination or help them get tests and things like that?
Well, we're hoping to try to set up something in the city where the kids can have a vaccination day. We're trying to reach out to a couple different organizations and be able to, send that out to the parents so that hopefully the parents can get their children there if they haven't already been vaccinated.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and that would be a great way to help the community and continue that program from the settlement houses. In a conversation I had with one of your colleagues, or alumni, if you will, he had mentioned to me how the settlement houses disappeared because they tried to hold on to their in-city townhouses and buildings, and they lost control of their camp programs because they were spending so much money on the real estate in the city that they lost their real estate in the country. And it seems like College Settlement did the exact opposite approach, and now they've got this thriving acreage, have over 240 acres in Horsham. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have 235 acres in Horsham, yes. We did actually also hold on to our houses in South Philadelphia for quite a while. I'm sure you've heard of the Settlement Music School.
Sure.
That was born out of College Settlement.
Okay.
The Philadelphia Orchestra volunteered to come in and teach the children in the settlement house how to play instruments.
I never realized that was the origin of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then when College Settlement fully moved out of the city, some of the property was given to or purchased by the Settlement Music School.
Okay, that makes sense. So there's still a remnant, a history of, if you will. Now, Obviously, there were a lot of obstacles to overcome in 2020 and 2021, but there's some exciting new things that are happening for College Settlement and the campers in 2022. I think one of the most recent things is you've recently renovated the swimming pool at the camp.
Yeah, Jim, we did. We put $150,000 into renovating the pool, which was built originally in 1968. And it had won numerous architectural design awards because anywhere that you stand, you can see the child within a few seconds. A number of the kids we serve do not know how to swim. So that is one of our goals in the summer, is to teach kids how to swim, or at least to feel safer in the water and not panic.
Sure.
So it's something that we use the pool. It holds over 200,000 gallons. And it has a very shallow end, it has a middle, and then it has a deep end. So the kids get to progress through the summer if they feel enough confidence to go from one level to the next to the next.
Okay. So that'll be a big part of this summer's camping experience.
I think the kids will be really excited.
That's neat. And I also heard you told me that there's something else that's going to be built and ready for this summer's camp. Can you tell me a little bit more about the climbing tower?
We in 2020 there was a windstorm that went through and blew down some trees and took down our high ropes course on our day camp side. So in looking at our property and what would work best for the campers, we decided to fundraise to build a climbing tower with what's called a swing by choice. So we're hoping to unveil that soon, and that will be another new thing for the children to participate in when they're there at camp.
That's really cool. Yeah, I would love to. I know that I would love to do that. I don't think I would be able to, but it's such a neat thing to see the progress that you're making. What are some of the other things that you're adding or enhancing for this summer?
Well, last year we were able to air condition our dining hall, which was huge because there's really nothing on our property that has air conditioning. And we continue to work towards fixing the property. Obviously, being around for 100 years, you have things that start to fall apart here and there. And we're planning on upgrading our electric, looking into some other things that are really kid-friendly. That's really what our purpose is to serve the kids, and that's where we feel that it's best to invest.
Interesting. Now, take me through a typical day for a camper, if you would. What are some, how does the day start? I know that one of the things that has fascinated me is the non-technology component of this. Like, you know, they're not going to have their cell phones, they're not going to have their laptops or any of this other stuff, those distractions.
Yeah, we don't allow the kids to have the cell phones because we really want them to be social, and we want them to learn how to talk to one another. We even eat our meals family style, so that you have to talk to the people at the table, and you're not just like wolfing down your food. And we're really big on making sure they have healthy, nutritious foods. Because we're close to the farm, we take the children to the farm, let them pick the vegetables, and then once we get enough of them picked, we will cook the vegetables for the kids.
Right.
And we get to say, hey, this is what you just picked. So it's pretty exciting for them to be able to participate in that. Usually when the kids arrive, it's between 7:30 in the morning and like 8:15, pending the buses. That's for the day camp. The kids come, they check in, they have breakfast, and then they split up into their different groups for the day. And in the morning, we have a little bit of a structure going on where the kids will rotate from different stations, whether it's be fishing, whether it's swimming, whether it's the environmental center or the farm, high ropes, low ropes, climbing tower. So they rotate through in the mornings. And then in the afternoon, because we're not school, we want them to have a choice, like what they like to do, what they want to try to do. So that's really a big part of our program, is letting them have a choice as to what activities they want to do in the afternoon. Cool. So it works out really nicely because the kids get different options and to try something that they never tried. You know, we're trying to build their self-confidence. We're trying to allow them to develop their own coping mechanisms and just to basically have a great outdoor safe experience.
That sounds nice. I have visited you at the camp, and it's a beautiful property. What's the average age of your campers? Like, what's the age range, I should say?
For day camp, it's 7 to 12-year-olds, and overnight is 8 to 12-year-olds. But then we have what's called a Leaders in Training program for 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds that don't want to go into the teen program, because our teen program is pretty physically challenging.
Okay.
And we have a teen program for 13 to 15-year-olds. And then we have what's called a counselor in training program. A lot of camps have that. And our counselor in training program is for 15 to 17-year-olds, where they come, they do the training for camp just like a counselor would, and then they have some minimal responsibilities.
Okay.
And sort of shadow a counselor. Last year we relied very heavily on those staff because one of the big contributing factors for our staff is we get international students.
Okay.
Most of our international students are 19 years or older, and they're there for the whole camp. So last year we weren't able to get those folks in, so we went back to our former CITs and former campers, and were able to really have a nice core of staff.
And it's interesting, one of the other things that I love about what I have seen in my time working with you is you have a lot of people who are alumni. They've gone through as campers, they've gone through as campers and counselors in training, they've become counselors, and they're still involved with the program. It's kind of like a nice family of people that have gone through the process and are still with you.
Yeah, we do have a family of people, and there's some people that we would love to get back in the family, like Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart was a camper when he was 8 and 9 years old.
Wow.
I often wonder if he learned to swim and ride a bike there, so whenever he posts things on his Instagram, I kind of have to go, did you learn to ride your bike at College Settlement?
That's funny. That's probably where it happened.
It could be.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And I really appreciate you taking the time with me, Terry. We mentioned that enrollment begins February 14th today, and that they can register online at collegesettlement.org. And this is the 100th anniversary of College Settlement's camp programs. And I encourage our viewers to take a look at the website, take a look at the programs, and if you know kids that could benefit in the city of Philadelphia that could benefit from this program, get them involved, and would love to hear from some people who, if they have any additional suggestions or contributions they wish to make, or can give any assistance, it's always welcome, I'm sure.
Yeah, we as well as having very affordable prices, we also still provide scholarships. So if a family cannot afford the prices, we have a scholarship application, and that's why we fundraise to send children to camp, because it's really important to be able to have that experience.
It's a vital program, and I think the origins and the principles that you have had along the way are really important, especially in this day and age, especially in the environment we're in right now.
Yes, I think it's really important, and people seem to be losing connection, and especially with being, sort of quarantined or locked away, and that's one of the things that we're really all about, is making connections.
I love it. Well, thank you, Terry, for being my guest today.
Thanks, Jim.
And we're hopeful that everyone will pay attention to College Settlement and take a look at the website, collegesettlement.org, in the 100th anniversary year. And I remind our viewers that I always look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions about College Settlement or any other things that we discussed here on the show today, please feel free to give me a call, 215-266-5943, or drop me an email, jim@jhdenterprises.com. I look forward to seeing you all again here very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.